What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to do another one of those edgier, hot take kind of topics. But no, I think these are, again, these kind of things where it's like, let's just defend somebody who really, I have no idea why this has become such a big thing. I have no idea why people are really this stupid. We can consider it like that. I don't really get, I think actually Degenerate Jade said it best on Twitter when he said, who the H has the time to worry about this? That's very true. That's very true. Who really is focusing on this? So Gal Gadot obviously has been cast with Patty Jenkins to play Cleopatra in a new motion picture, in a new film, and the crazies on the internet have ran with that, and they are sending some as you would probably assume from them, they're sending some pretty terrible things her way. A lot of them are wishing some pretty bad, again, I got to be careful how I dance around this stuff, but they're sending her a lot of very, very mean stuff, a lot of deletion kind of things, and it's terrible. Firstly, nobody should go after Gal Gadot like that in the first place. But secondly, no, it's just not. It's not necessary. And they also, I think, they're just very uneducated, right? You've seen kind of the wave of people that are defending Gal Gadot and saying, "Well, look, Cleopatra." Because the whole basic point is they want a more representation of who they believe Cleopatra actually was. Okay, not an Israelian like Gal Gadot, even though it's not. One. Again, does it really even matter? Secondly, it's not really Gal Gadot's fault at all. She was casted. You should basically go after whoever casted her, right? You go after the director. You can go after whoever, the actual casting person who did it. But it's not Gal Gadot's fault. And, again, Cleopatra, I guess there are some debate as to what skin shade she was. I've seen different publications, but you got to be careful because really over the last 2 to 3 years, you've seen, remember, you got to go diversity, you got to go woke. It's more like that. If you don't do articles like that, I mean, are you really even in the media? So there's a lot of media saying, well, there was really only two. I actually saw one article where it was like, well, there's only 2 skin tones that they were able to portray anybody at back in that day, and it was full-on black or full-on white. There really was no in between, even though that's not really true at all. But of course, they said it, and it's the news, it's online, so it must obviously be true. And if we go against it, we are a conspiracy, we are, whatever you want to call us. But it's just, again, these are the kind of things that happens in this woke, leftist kind of culture where you have people attacking her, sending some terrible, terrible things her way when the issue is that it's not portrayed by a black person, or it's not portrayed by an Egyptian actress. Ultimately, there's a couple things that go into casting a movie. I'm not saying it's right, but star power is absolutely one of them. You have to pick if you want the movie to be big, or if you have any if you have any want for the movie to be something, you probably are going to have to attach somewhat of a big name to it, and that's just in general. Gal Gadot's obviously a huge name, so attaching her to this is a good idea. She's not far off from what you would expect maybe Cleopatra to look like. There was no problem, by the way, when Liz Taylor, she was the one who did it way back in the day. There was really no problem when that happened, but because it's happening in 2020, because of this whole culture war, this is the kind of stuff we get, that you have to make a big deal out of this stuff, otherwise you're not doing it right. But again, they're not even looking at the right kind of history. It's Macedonian, Egyptian, that Cleopatra, I mean, she was more white than anything else. So the fact that Gal Gadot is playing her is fine. It's a fine thing. It really boils down, and because even Jeremy at the quartering, right, I think he did a really, really great job covering this. There was a couple of people that even talked about, Israel stole our land and now you're stealing, our movies. It's a race thing. I mean, at the end of the day, this is only because somebody's upset because of something race-related, and so they have to make it a big deal. Nobody actually cares. Let me tell you that the people watching this film are not going to care. And then, again, Gal Gadot's done some stuff, right, with the whole, the Imagine, music thing. That was very, very bad, and obviously there's room to improve from there. But for the most part, she is not one of the absolute, just people that you need to completely tune out when it comes to Hollywood. She's not anti-really anything, right? She doesn't push anything too hard. So this is somebody that, in my mind, plus, I really do, I think she does a really great job. I mean, yes, she's a little hard to understand sometimes, but, Fast and Furious is one of my favorite film franchises of all time. She's phenomenal there. I really, really love her as Wonder Woman. I think she does a phenomenal job. So, I mean, in general, look, in terms of like a humanity thing, we look out for each other. So, we have to do our part to look out for her. Nobody should be sending her, these kind of deletion threats online. There's just absolutely no point to it. Ultimately, and this is what I always say, and I have, different, YouTube channels will also say this as well, but I like to make this a point too. A lot of the people that complain about this stuff are never going to see it in the first place. And I wouldn't go so far to say like they're broke, they live in their mom's basement, stuff like that, because you do see sometimes people throwing out those kind of insults. Even I've talked about with like Hogwarts Legacy, the insane asylum people that attack J.K. Rowling, which again, you can do it, but to boycott a game is different. And, we've gone into discussions on that, on the channel. If you guys like this stuff, by the way, make sure you're subscribed firstly. But also, I've done other videos, and I'm doing more of them more often on this kind of edgier stuff. So you like this edgy content, I'm definitely going to be doing more of it. But these are the people that are just flat out not going to get the game, in terms of the J.K. Rowling thing. They're not going to get the game anyway. These are never going to be people that are going to buy it. So for them to say, boycott the game, well, you're just saying that into like a void, not necessarily a void, you're saying it into your followers of the insane people, but they're not going to get it anyway. They were never going to get it in the first place. And then you're saying it to yourself, but you were never going to get it. Same thing with this Cleopatra movie. Look, if I'm being bluntly honest with you guys, I doubt I see this movie, at least not in theaters. I don't think I would pay, however much to like get my family in the theaters to watch this movie. I mean, I like Gal Gadot. I'd watch a lot of things Gal Gadot is in, but I don't know if I would pay money to go to the theaters to see this movie day one, okay? It's just not that kind of thing. But that doesn't mean that we have, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine. You don't have to see it day one. But I think I would eventually see it. And a lot of the people that are sending her these kind of things, they're never going to see that. You think they're going to go see Cleopatra? Firstly, they don't know the first thing about history, to begin with. They don't know anything. They don't even do the research to note that they're actually wrong. And again, even if you want to get into the whole long debate of, oh, what skin shade was she actually? Like, is Gal Gadot close enough? Or again, you go into the race thing and maybe you just hate, Israelis, which, by the way, you're kind of what you preach on to others, just to throw that in there. If you want to go down that path, well, still, you can. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you can't. But if you do, what's the point? Well, I mean, really, how much is this going to affect your life? You're not going to see the movie. Is this really a big enough reason? And this, again, with identity politics, with woke culture, just, pop culture really in general, this is what ends up happening is they get so deep. Now, this is kind of an opposite example. I always go to like Charlie's Angels as a good example. You can go to Terminator. You can go to any kind of, example of like a woke culture kind of thing. You go to these and a lot of them try to sell you on that. Like, those are the reasons to go because they're being so diverse or they're empowering women so much, but the movie sucks or the game sucks or what, you know what I mean? Like, the actual product in front of you is just not thought out of, not thought out at all because you were focusing on something that nobody actually cares about. I mean, yes, a small, a very loud minority of people care about on the internet, but nobody in the real world actually does, okay? So they normally use it for the opposite reason. Now, for like a cancel culture kind of thing, this is the reverse. This is, oh my God, this is going to be such a big deal where she's from, where Gal Gadot as a character is from, and what her skin color is. That is the biggest deal of this Cleopatra movie, not the filming, not her acting skills, not the rest of the cast, not what they're going to do with them, none of that stuff. Who cares about, I mean, why would you even go see a movie for the actual movie itself? No, absolutely not. It's because of her race. You know what I mean? And that is, when you boil it down, anything ever matters. That's the only thing that matters to these kinds of people. If it's a game, if it's politics, if it's a movie, that's all that matters to these crazy people. So, to end this, let me say this. I've been very quiet on this kind of stuff for a very, very long time. I'm very capable, hopefully, as you guys can tell, in talking about this. I do get worried because it does kind of paint me in one light. But at the same time, I mean, it's just, one, it's standing up for an individual that I just don't think deserves these kind of things sent her way. Now, can Gal Gadot handle it? Well, obviously she can, but I don't think she deserves it. And at the end of the day, it's just not something that needs to be focused on. These are not the kind of people, and that's why I'm not afraid to really call these people out. Everybody's welcome on my channels. I've always said that. I just don't think that those people would want to stay around for very long on these channels, right? Because they would quickly realize that it's just not for them, okay? So we'll have to see what ends up happening. This movie is going to obviously happen, and people will continue to lose their minds. But again, small group. The movie won't, I would assume, make all that much money in the first place, but also these people that are complaining about it aren't actually going to go see it in the first place, okay? So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Where do you stand on all this stuff? Again, again, I'm going to be doing more of these edgier kind of videos. I like making them. I think the audience, you guys tend to like these, tend to latch onto these pretty well, so I'm very happy about that, and I will be doing more. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed and have the bell icon turned on. I do mainly news stuff on this channel. If you guys are new to the channel, I talk about games, talk about movies. I'm definitely open to talking about this stuff as well, okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on tomorrow's video.